3 and a 4 and a 5. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back again, Jody motherfucking Keith, and I'm here with another taxi confession story. And, I always talk about the cosmic dispatcher in the cab and the way things line up. And, I've been out of the cab for a year and a half. But, the other night, I went by my friend's house and I was trying to help her set up her stream, and I learned a lot from streaming. I picked up little things along the way. So I wanted to get her started on the whole stream thing. And Miscellany on Twitch. You should definitely check her out. But anyway, so I went to go set her up, and at the end of it all, it was 2 in the morning, and I had work the next day, and my car broke down that day. It was overheating. I dropped it off at the mechanic, so I had to catch an Uber home. So I ordered the Uber. Uber pulls up outside. I had him waiting for a second, which I usually don't like to do because I used to be on the receiving end of that. And so I walk outside, and I walk up to the car, and he starts to pull off. So then I knock on the door, and then he lets me in the car. He's like, "Oh, man, I'm sorry, man. I thought you were on the other side of the street, because I didn't really know with this GPS." I said, "Yeah, man, it's crazy, that GPS, man." I said, "As a matter of fact, I used to drive a cab." He was like, "Oh, yeah?" I said, "And the cool thing about driving a cab, because I also drove Uber and Lyft, is that you learn all the addresses. You learn all the 100 blocks. So when you get an address, you know what side of the street it's on." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I can see that." So, despite how wildly inefficient a cab is compared to Uber or Lyft, having that extra knowledge makes you more efficient in the pinpoint accuracy department, maybe not the dispatch department. And so, we're, basically one ex-driver to a current driver, we started shooting the shit pretty much. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I love it, man. It's free. It's crazy, da-da-da-da-da." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I like all the stories you pick up, I love stories." And so he was like, yeah, I got some crazy stories." I said, "Oh, yeah, man, hit me with one of them crazy stories." So he was like, "Oh, yeah, man." He's like, "One day I was picking up these girls in the French Quarter, and they wanted to go out to Metairie out in the suburbs." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he's like, and once we got on the interstate, they just started wilding out, man. And they were flashing people out my car, and they were flashing me, and there was 3 chicks, and they were topless the whole way. I said, "Oh, no way, man." To be honest with you, that don't sound that crazy to me. He's like, "Oh, no." I said, "Nah, dude, but it's funny that you brought that story up, because the cool thing about stories is whenever somebody tells you a story or when something happens in your life, it sparks up an older story that you might have forgotten about. A little Jim from the past." He's like, "Oh, yeah, you got a story like that?" I said, "Yeah, I got a story like that." And it's funny because I hadn't thought of it since it happened. Maybe I told a story for 2 weeks or a month and something else crazy happened and I quit telling it, because I had the new story to tell. But, yeah, man, I'll hit you with it, So I'll tell them the story, and it goes a little something like this. Basically, I was sitting on Bourbon Street, chilling in my cab, and this girl walked up to me. She was from Hawaii. She's like, "Oh, I'm from Hawaii. I'm trying to get uptown. How far away is that?" "Oh, not that far." "How much would it cost to get up there?" I said, "I don't know, about $16. I guess a cab fare within a quarter." And then she was like, "Oh, well, I'm from Hawaii, and I'm crazy. So how about this? How about I just flash you for the ride?" And I was like, "Listen, babe, I'm from New Orleans, and that's not that crazy." I said, "We're on Bourbon Street. That shit happens all the time for a pair of beads. That ain't worth $1. So, I appreciate the offer. I appreciate your attempt at convincing me that you're crazy. But the thing about it is, that's not that crazy in New Orleans. You're in the wrong town to be pulling that one." She's like, But I told her I would be happy to bring you home, and I'll give you the cheapest, quickest ride home. And if you like, you can flash me at the end for the tip." So she walked off on me, So she walked off, and I'm sitting there still, and then she walks back up to me. She's like, "All right, I can't find another ride. You bring us home?" I said, Yeah, I'll bring you home." So they jump in the car. I bring them uptown. Whenever I get to their house, their friends jumped out. She pays me $16. She gets out. She's halfway to the porch. Then she stops and turns around. I wait till they get to the door at night. If it's a bunch of females, I wait till they get inside before I drive off. And I also check the back seat, make sure nobody left anything. So I'm still in the middle of the road when she turns around, and she walks back, and she's like, "Well, here's your tip." And then she flashed me. Fake tits, for sure. She was just trying to show them off. And so she's like, "Ain't that crazy?" And I was like, "Well, that's kind of crazy." I had to give her something. She just flashed me. Wasn't all that crazy, but it was kind of crazy. And I realized why she was trying to show off, her new rack job. So anyway, so I was like, all right, cool, So I told this Uber driver the story, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, that's crazy." I said, "Man, you're going to see some shit out here, bro. If you think that's crazy, you're going to see some shit, And so we're going on, we're driving, and we come up to the exit to get to my house, and the interstate's completely blocked off. There was like a 4-car wreck. It's 2 in the morning, you know, and so we end up having to drive all the way downtown and U-turn and take the interstate back so we can catch my exit. So we're driving. He's like, you know, we're just shooting the shit, and then it comes up, you know, more stories, you know, and so after telling a couple stories, he's like, man, he's like, I'm gonna tell you a crazy story. I said, all right, man, come on, hit me with one, come on. So he's like, oh yeah, man. He's like, you're not gonna believe this. I picked up these 2 guys, and it was like 4:30 in the morning, and they were like, hey, look, we're trying to go to Bourbon Street. And I was like, all right, cool. Where y'all going on Bourbon? And then they're like, oh yeah, we didn't punch it in there. It's we're going to the Hustler Club. And then he's like, yeah, Hustler Club. Y'all going to a strip club? I'm pretty sure the strip clubs are closing, man. It's a weeknight. And then the guys in his car were like, oh yeah, man. Well, we're not going there to go see the strippers. He's like, well, y'all just going to drink? He's like, no, we're not going to the drink either. And he's like, well, if you're not going to drink, you're not going to see strippers, man. Where y'all going to a strip club? And then the guy said, listen, we're going over there. We're going to meet up with some people that work there, and we're going to play Magic the Gathering. We're going to play Magic the Gathering. I am a professional Magic player. And so he says, now I didn't know what Magic the Gathering was, but apparently it's this game, you know, where it's like Dungeons and Dragons, and you play against other people, and you make creatures, and you make dragons, and you attack people, and you try and kill them. And it was just blew my mind that these 2 guys wanted to go to the club to play this game, not to see the titties, not to get the drinks, just to go play this card game that's apparently pretty nerdy. I said, no way, man, that's crazy. That's actually crazy that you're telling me this story right now, man. Because what are the odds? You're bringing up a Magic story. You don't even know I play Magic. You don't know I know. I don't really look like the type that really plays Magic, probably. You know what I'm saying? So you put me on playing Magic. You know, I mean, you put me in the story in a way, you know, where you're explaining Magic to a person that plays Magic, and you have no clue what it is. Where normally I'm the person who plays Magic trying to explain it to somebody who has no clue what it is. So it was really funny seeing the driver, you know, kind of be in a reverse role on it all. And it's like it would have never happened if we didn't get in the wreck, if I didn't go help my friend out. You know, there's a lot of different things along the way that would have never got me that story. You know, and that's what I always like about the cab is everything kind of lines itself up. It's like if I didn't, you know, it's like if you drive down the street, you know, you got a car full of people, you know, and, you know, you're going into Bourbon Street and the light turns yellow. You know what I'm saying? And now you can go through the light, it's yellow, or you can stop. You're not right or wrong either way. But if you decide to go through and then you go straight, and then you go 3 blocks, and then as soon as you cross one street, you got 3 cabs turn behind you, then you stop in the middle of the road because there's no place to pull over, and you let the people out, and then you got people jumping in. Now, if you would have stopped at yellow light, you wouldn't have got those people, and your whole night, your whole life, your whole thing, you know, will completely change. You know what I'm saying? You won't pick up that girl that's flagging you down. And then next thing you know, you're not riding around for 2 years. And next thing you know, you're not living with her for a year. And then next thing you know, you just wish you would have stopped at the damn yellow light, you know. So yeah, Cosmic Dispatcher, shit lining up, you know. And you know, if y'all enjoyed this story, you know, hide your kids, hide your wife, tell your friends where to find us. Like, comment, subscribe. Any like case of serendipity, anything like the biggest coincidence you ever had in your life, you know, try and remember it. Put it in the comments below. See what kind of crazy stories y'all have. I'm gonna enjoy reading them. So you know, thanks for tuning in. One love, good vibes, and we'll catch you on the next story time. Nice.